This is
SPTV.
Blessed day.
Imagine what it'd be like to step inside your worst nightmare, a make-believe world you create.
Imagine stepping into your absolute very worst nightmare. A make-believe world that your parents and L. Ron Hubbard created. Imagine that. Imagine that right now. Right this second. Start.
The dollhouse comes to life.
It's so incongruous to see you smiling in this outfit.
I know. I don't usually do a lot of laughing or smiling
No.
while I'm wearing this. Most of the time, I'm just upset.
Yeah.
About something.
Well, it's nice to see that you, Elizabeth Moss, don't do a lot of laughing when you're usually on set, but that you fake your pain. You fake being a slave very well in that set that you're in. Very, very well. You know who doesn't have the luxury to turn on and off their emotions when they're inside living their nightmare in one of the hotels that you are a paid member to? The children recruited by your hotel chain that you are a paid member to work inside the hotel. Those kids, in fact, do get taught how to turn on and off emotions. They do that by doing TR drills. They do that by being taught that their emotions are just part of a tone scale, is what they're told. So whenever a kid feels like they really don't want to laugh, they tell them, knock off your case on post and come up tone. Right or wrong? Elizabeth Moss. You are literally there with your white privilege in full display, having everyone eating out of your hand. Because you do play that part of relatable when I need to be very well. And right about now, you should be submitting yourself for an Oscar for that performance alone. CC the entire Oscar committee. Since this is a story about Hollywood and Scientology, let's not forget all of woke Hollywood, CC y'all, that go get Oscars for yourselves, that give employment to, including but not limited to, Actress of the Year without a shred of scruples, to be doing this all in our face, like we're just supposed to take it. The joke has been on us, Miss Moss. Of that, you're very, very right. The joke has been on the kids. And yeah, as much of a second generation kid that you are and all, it looks like you really got that, like, you know, celebrity treatment is what they were calling it in the hotels. You know, when your daddy is a celebrity in one of these hotels, you guys, then you become very special, is what you're told from a very early age. As Elizabeth Moss likes to tell everybody, she was, you know, a ballerina who didn't go to school, another one of these Scientology kids whose parents were definitely not trafficking her, right? Because she wasn't just working as a child all over Hollywood, doing God know what roles. That's just not all over the public record. A simple, literal, simple, this, you guys, as you probably all know, GTS away. A simple GTS away, and you find out that Elizabeth Moss didn't go to school like countless other Scientology kids. Because, yes, Scientology parents as a collective all endorse for themselves that their kid would not be needing to go to school. So y'all that have watched this show ad nauseum, I couldn't even stomach it. So I'm glad that ABC News gave us this great segment here where they're giving us the behind the scenes. That's what we care about. That's all the shred of patience that we have at this moment right now, to be seeing what Miss Moss is just doing, literally plain open, without a shred of shame. Her and Hollywood and Amazon and Jeff Bezos and Hulu and the Emmys and all her little friends that join to celebrate and clap and clap and clap for, yes, the acting performance of a lifetime. Miss Moss deserves plenty of Academy Awards. We are not doubting that whatsoever.
Some wrong that has been done to me.
Hulu's blockbuster drama starring Elizabeth Moss is now in its second season.
9 months can feel like quite a long time.
The story is set in a totalitarian regime called Gilead in what used to be the U.S.
The story is set in a hotel chain calling itself Scientology, founded by convicted felon in absentia L. Ron Hubbard, who did take it upon himself to get himself a little ship, a little floating cathedral is what's being pitched by the Scientology attorneys they have. And he did go around recruiting all manner of minors to be in his ship, to do his bidding blindly, is what this American-bred god, L. Ron Hubbard, sanctioned by the IRS to commit all manner of atrocities on children. Because you guessed it, the far-right extremist movement did take it upon itself to infiltrate the pathetic, corrupt U.S. government. So let that sizzle and simmer in y'all's brains, because we don't have a shred of patience for your stupidity. Your stupidity, CC Congress of the US, CC FBI, CC Clearwater Police, CC LAPD Commissioner, CC LAPD Human Trafficking Division, is not our problem, your stupidity. It's y'all who have the problem. Is y'all who need to start answering the very simple questions that y'all can go into your human trafficking laws, your child trafficking laws. Let's pull that out right now so we can just refresh y'all's memory, since apparently the entirety of the people that I just called out, you guys, that we just CC'd here, are just running around clueless, not knowing about anything. Literally, they couldn't know any less, and they couldn't be more clueless. Child trafficking involves the exploitation of minors through force, checkmark, fraud, checkmark, coercion, checkmark. Parents who financially benefit from their children's trafficking can be held accountable under laws that aim to protect minors from harm. These laws emphasize that parents should prioritize their children's well-being and safety rather than exploiting them for personal gain. CC all Scientology parents. The law is clear. Profiting from child trafficking is a serious crime that disregards a child's rights and can lead to severe legal consequences for all of those involved. CC all of those who were involved in this systemic, institutionalized practice of recruiting minors you were calling Sea Org members every Thursday before 2 o'clock.
A devastating coup.
You girls will serve the leaders of the faithful.
The new American regime is a theocracy that oppresses women in particular.
Well, wouldn't you know, you guys, leave it to the corrupt, inept people of the US government to give you something way far more perverse than what Ms. Moss took herself the liberty to role play, to act out in her little Handmaid's Tale. Because it turns out that the Sea Org tale that does do exactly what Ms. Moss purports here for everyone to see, right? But they take it a step further, as if that's even a shred of a possibility. And what in the hell do I mean by that? What in the hell I mean is they did this to children, the kids. The kids, the collective kids that were donated to, including but not limited to the Sea Org, including but not limited to all Class 5 org in the planet, around the planet, advanced orgs around the planet. Those were the Handmaid's Tale of all the executives that worked at those hotels, purporting that that they had a very valid movement going on. That everything you see here is taking place all over downtown Clearwater, because that is not a problem according to the Clearwater police. That is literally not a problem to the Clearwater police, you guys. They couldn't care any less. Talk about government infiltration. I mean, it wasn't like Mary Sue Hubbard, wife of L. Ron Hubbard, was not indicted for having taken the fall for that disgusting, degenerate L. Ron Hubbard, the convicted felon who threw his literal wife under a justice bus as he clowned around the world for himself, being fed more minors by pathetic parents that were so pressed for L. Ron Hubbard's blessing, literal blessing, because they do want to not be told that they're not religious, guys, so give them that. They were pressed to get L. Ron Hubbard's approval and blessing. and they couldn't apparently live without it. Apparently, that's something they very much needed for themselves, including, but not limited to, if, you know, it came with the sacrifice of having their underage kids starting at age 5. Claire Headley already went on the record, billion-year contract presented to a 5-year-old. Billion-year contract presented to a 12-year-old. Billion-year contract presented to a 13-year-old. Billion-year contract presented to a 14-year-old, to a 15-year-old, to a 16-year-old, to a 17-year-old, to an 18-year-old. 19, 20, 21, if you want to go that far, because you know what, U.S. government, these kids really should not take an ounce of alcohol, but they can go sign up a contract that you will find very binding in all your courts of America, is what we're being told. All your courts are telling us that what we signed is extremely binding, and we couldn't be less educated on the facts ourselves. The children that were trafficked that didn't go to high school are being told that we couldn't be more pathetically confused. So when someone in the U.S. Department of Justice and above and below and sideways and northways and wherever in the hell the government that is being subsidized by us to do a job that y'all are at best not doing because you're so recklessly negligent, or at worst are in on the $3 billion pie of blood money being collected on the backs of children that do get to sign up a very religious thing at the Fort Harrison Hotel or at the Manor Hotel or over there at St. Hill, because why don't you stay in our castle? Because we're so royal. Right, Tom Cruise? You needed to be invited to the Queen's whatever. You're so royal, all of y'all. Oh my God, guys. Please make room for these royals of Hollywood. Who do like being served by child slaves. Right or wrong, Elizabeth Moss? Tell your publicist, who should be sitting right next to you, asking you, what in the hell is this that I'm saying? She should be right next to you, typing. Make it make sense today. Pitch it. In 2023, pitch it. Try it. Try to deny it. Try to say it isn't so. Try to say that we don't know what in the hell we're talking about. Try it. And I mean, I guess the joke is on us, right, Elizabeth? Because it wasn't like minors at the Fort Harrison weren't getting married to adults at all. Right, Elizabeth? And it wasn't like minors in California, like Claire Headley already told us.
What does a Scientology wedding look like? Are there rules?
Yes. So there are, I think, a couple of different ceremonies. Mark and I were married at Celebrity Center in Los Angeles. Yeah, we had to drive to Vegas, which his dad, my to-be father-in-law, drove us to Vegas the night before. We got our wedding license, and we had to do that because I was 17.
Oh.
And in California, if you want to get married under the age of 18, I think it is, you have to get blood drawn for some reason, and you have to see a psychologist.
Oh.
And I would have drawn the blood, but the psychologist was off the list for me as a Sea Org member and as a Scientologist.
Right.
Anyway, so yeah, we drove to Vegas, got our wedding license, and then the ceremony was in the pavilion there, and it was called the double ring ceremony. So the minister holds up the two rings and tells us to envision the ARC triangle in the rings. That's affinity, reality, and communication, which if you have all of those present, you can accomplish understanding. It's weird. There's not really the concept of love in Scientology. It's affinity.
Mm.
Affinity is a feeling of love or liking for someone. It's just a different word. Like a Scientologist would say, "Oh, I have so much affinity for you."
Really?
Yeah.
So wait, did you not say you loved each other? Was that not a thing?
No, I mean, yes, we said I love you. And of course we say it all the time now.
Yeah.
It's not that Scientologists don't say that. It's just that there's like all these layers of semantics that I feel in my mind now, looking back on it, were kind of layers of control and isolation, like, I can remember growing up, my mom would say to me all the time, "Don't cut my comm." So somebody listening would be like, "What the heck was that? And what does that mean?" Well, cut my communication. Again, you get so deep in the weeds, but if I say, it's like saying, "Don't interrupt me." Basically, but it's Scientology speak.
Got it.
Or they'd say, "Don't be banky." As a child, don't be banky means your bank is your reactive bank or your reactive mind, and it's the source of any misemotion, negative feelings, negative reactions, and that's what you handle when you achieve the state of clear. You now no longer have a reactive mind or a reactive bank. But so as a child is like, don't be banky, meaning, don't throw a fit, don't act out. It's a different
by rape and ultimately forced to hand over their babies.
Do you have a name?
Angela.
It's as if the Puritans borrowed a few ideas from the Taliban and developed their own uniquely American caliphate.
And again, you guys, the Puritans borrowed from the Taliban and made their own brand of caliphate. The Americans did that. But the Americans did that in reality, not in the acting skills and the showmanship and the joke that Hulu decided to play on all the children that were born to parents who definitely got sold on becoming part of that whatever in the hell the IRS is calling it.
From the Taliban and developed their own uniquely American caliphate.
I'm a handmaid. How do I even explain that?
And yes, you guys, here's Miss Moss literally telling us that she doesn't even know how to explain it. Are you sure you don't have a shred of a clue, Elizabeth Moss? Because, maybe The Handmaid's Tale is very hard for you to, explain. Maybe you have a ton of misunderstood words on that book. So you are acting confused and manifesting misunderstood phenomena right now with your glee of insanity that you're showing here. While at the other side of your mouth, you definitely had eyeballs, right? In this type of hotel culture, Elizabeth, or not? Did you not have a shred of eyeballs into the Fort Harrison? did you never see a child being taken into a session as a minor? I mean, I'm sure you can dig up in your own experience, Miss Moss, times that you definitely got taken in session as a minor by definitely including to, but not limited to, an adult. And then if you just Googled it, since you are a celebrity and all, true. But apparently Miss Moss, you guys, thinks that if it didn't happen to her, it doesn't apply whatsoever. And you know what didn't happen much in, that Miss Moss definitely had a high ranking position. That hotel wasn't really into telling celebrities what to do about pregnancies. Okay? So nobody went to a celebrity. Nobody knocked on Miss Moss's door and said, "Oh, why are you having a baby? No, don't have it. Here, do the greatest good." Nobody did that to celebrities, you guys. But it's all over the public record. CC Hulu, CC Amazon, CC Jeff Bezos, CC Monique Yingling, that this practice of definitely having a lot to do with women's decisions on babies they did get pregnant of, and were interrogated in, including to but not limited to, hotel rooms or other type of rooms in commercial buildings that these people own. Until that woman was said to have changed her mind after they pulled her withholds for wanting to leave the hotel. What have you done that you're withholding from us that will want to make you get pregnant to terminate your billion-year contract you have here with L. Ron Hubbard that you did sign, that we are going to enforce no matter what, because we don't have a shred of humanity. L. Ron Hubbard had his way with these people, and he literally possessed their brain all the way down to their spine, you guys. So don't think that the level of narcissism didn't include, but wasn't limited to, locking up women to be interrogated until they decided that, you want to know what? I think I definitely need to be seeing a Planned Parenthood clinic. Get me to the nearest one. I mean, it wasn't like Claire Headley just told us, and women, including to, but not limited to, had 6 of these procedures done, perform on themselves, because they did want to stay very committed to L. Ron Hubbard. Right, Monique Yingling? That's another one of these religious beliefs that you're spouting around, definitely to the lower class. Miss Moss is not part of the lower class, you guys. None of the celebrities are part of Scientology's lower class. You know how in Miss Moss's show, she makes a mockery of this by, some beautiful blonde woman being brought a child. Well, that's Miss Moss. That's Miss Moss for you. Right there. That woman that gets brought the children, the woman that gets told she's so incredible, you're so OT, you're so powerful. Can you give us another donation of $100,000? Because you know what? We really do need to save the world. And, your donation could really go very, very far. You have no idea, Elizabeth, how far your donation will go. And Ms. Moss, with this Hollywood smile, sits there pretending that she doesn't have a shred of a clue of what in the hell we could be talking about. Right or wrong, Elizabeth? Right or wrong?
this? How do I boil it down? It's impossible. Can you just Google me? How do I even explain this? How do I boil it down? It's impossible. Can you just Google?
Why don't we just Google it really quick? See, since Miss Moss seems to think we're going to really learn a lot by GTSing, since you guys do know that I love GTS, let's see here. Let's Google it. Oops, what's the first thing we find on Google, you guys? This little website called Wikipedia. Wikipedia. Scientology and abortion. Wouldn't you know? The intersection of Scientology and abortion has been a controversial history which began with Scientology founder L. Ron Hubbard's discussion of abortion in his 1950s book, Dianetics, the Modern Science of Mental Health. Shout out to you, New York Times bestseller. Editorial board of the New York Times, shout out to y'all. Hubbard wrote in Dianetics that abortion and attempts of abortion could cause trauma to the fetus and to the mother in both spiritual and physical ways. Wow, L. Ron Hubbard. Scientology came to believe that attempted abortions could cause traumatic experiences felt by the fetus, which would later be remembered as memories referred to in Scientology as engrams. In Scientology, a technique called auditing, Scientologists are frequently queried regarding their sexual feelings and behaviors. Shout out to all the minors that got asked all manner of disgusting questions about their sexual feelings and behaviors. These questions about Scientology's sexual behavior are often posed to members during security checks, a specific form of auditing sessions where individuals are required to document their divergence from the organization's ethics. One of the questions asked in these security checks is, have you ever been involved in an abortion? Literally, kid you not, you guys. GTS, follow Elizabeth Moss's instructions. Google it. A female former member of Scientology's elite organization called the Sea Org discussed the views of Scientology concerning abortion with sociologist Stephen A. Kent. She told Kent that while the Sea Org operated at sea during mid-1970s, women understood that they were not to have children. So shout out to you, Hulu department, who didn't GTS, who should have followed Ms. Moss's own advice about, Googling what in the hell it is, right? Because we are finding it, the first entry, as you put the first literal entry is this Wikipedia page. In 1994, a former Scientologist and Sea Org member, Mary Taboyan, filed legal declaration in which she said that while in Scientology's base in Hemet, California, members of the Sea Org were instructed not to have children and were coerced to have abortions. In 1999, former Scientologist Jesse Prince told the Press Enterprise that after his wife Monica became pregnant while both were working in the Sea Org complex Golden Era Productions in Gilman Hot Springs, California, where also Bob Ferris is locked up. Bob Ferris, the man that told his LGBTQ daughter that he was dead. That definitely took it upon himself to throw that little rumor out there for himself. I mean, imagine that, you guys. Anyways, we go back to our point. Scientology representatives at the time asserted that Prince's wife chose on her own volition to have an abortion and was not forced to do so. Well, shout out to all of you pathetic, lying representatives that are literally pathological liars. Shout out to y'all at OSA, pathological liars that can't even figure out what in the hell you're doing because you're so corrupt, because you're so inept, you're so stupid and gullible following the memos of a literal convicted felon. Start checking on yourself. Look out for yourself. Because once this entire racketeering scheme starts really getting sorted, Guess who is going to be doing real ethics handlings, not invented ones at a hotel. Real ethics handlings in police stations, getting interrogated with actual exposure, not that BS that you all role play at your hotel from hell. In 2001, former Scientologist Astra Woodruff, who we've covered here on this channel, one of the original whistleblower kids, told the San Francisco Chronicle that if a woman gets pregnant while in the Sea Org in 2001, you guys, so CC Hulu, CC Jeff Bezos, CC all the idiots that casted Miss Moss to play a joke on us. CC y'all. In April 2008, Woodcraft appeared along with Scientology leaders David Miscavige's niece, Jenna Miscavige Hill, on the ABC News program Nightline. So shout out to all of you police reports and police offices that doesn't give a shred of what is covered by top tier media outlets. Shout out to you, LAPD Commissioner. Shout out to you, Clearwater Police Commissioner, that apparently it doesn't matter if minors go to the top tier media to discuss unthinkable, disgusting things. Y'all couldn't see anything suspicious in all of those hotels if you were paid to not see anything suspicious in those hotels. Yes or no? It would be great to understand your justifications for what in the hell we're reading to you here. A simple GTS away. Both asserted that Sea Org members who became pregnant are told to either leave or get an abortion. Claire Headley was an employee of Scientology's facility, Golden Era Productions, from 1991 to 2005, and a Scientologist and Sea Org member. In 2009, she filed a lawsuit against Golden Era Production in which she asserted she was forced to undergo 2 abortions. 2. In order to keep her position with her employer. So shout out to you, Wikipedia, who's still calling literal child traffickers employers. Shout out to you that work at Wikipedia that also can't get their facts straight if you weren't literally funded to get them straight. Because apparently there is no investigations in this United States that can be done. Everyone's critical thinking skills could not be more compromised. Why is our question? Why are y'all's investigatory skills so goddamn compromised? It'd be nice to know. Scientology representative Tommy Davis. Oh, look, Tommy Davis described her lawsuit as utterly meritless, quote. And yeah, shout out to you, Tommy Davis, who is one of these executives, these unhinged, narcissistic AF executives that definitely took it upon yourself to launder the image of those hotels where you knew what Claire Headley said happened to her twice. There's medical records on this. It's not like the medical records cannot be found if Miss Headley had nothing better to do with her time than waste it literally having to expose the unthinkable again, because, you know, I'm sure we're finding it so pleasurable to come up here and having to discuss these disgusting things y'all did to us as kids. Literally, we don't have anything better to do with our time. You literally wasted our entire childhood, but now it's up to us to do all of y'all's heavy lifting again and again and again, because no one is around to do a shred of heavy lifting, is what we know right now. Tommy Davis said, Scientologists who sign up for the Sea Org know that they're becoming part of a highly dedicated, highly disciplined, very regulated lifestyle as part of a religious order. Isn't that interesting, you guys? That just the fact that you call something a religious order, never mind that it's a full-blown racketeering criminal conspiracy. But these people are very pressed to call it a religious order. Because never mind that Mr. Tommy Davis, spokesperson of the year for Scientology, thinks that lying on the public record to kids such as myself, including but not limited to myself, who did spend a lot of time in those case supervisors' offices and who can come forward with a hell of a ton more girls that y'all were very intent in handling, ethics handling, right, Debbie Cook? How many ethics handlings, Debbie Cook, got done per week on girls who definitely, became pregnant, whether they wanted to or not, you guys? It's not like these people were giving them money to really protect themselves, even having sex. Because this is not trafficking of people. This is all a religious experience that we are having, is what we are being told ad nauseum. A religious experience at a luxury hotel frequented and funded, endorsed by Hollywood's elite. Aren't we so lucky? The kids that have John Travolta, Tom Cruise, and all of these other men that definitely loved their little hotel experiences that are still there at it today. Full-grown men we're talking about. Not infantilized, gullible, naive 20-year-olds anymore. Full-grown men that have access to GTS, the same thing that Elizabeth Moss told everyone to do, which we're doing right now. In commentary on Scientology and practices, this one, sorry. Laura Ann de Crescenzo filed a lawsuit in 2009 against Scientology in which she asserted that she was forced to have an abortion at age 17. Because yes, the minors were having this too, you guys. I mean, it didn't matter. It didn't matter how old you were. You were always an adult in a small body. Whatever your age was, nobody could care a shred of less. In commentary on Scientology and practices in the Sea Org, New Religious Movements, scholar J. Gordon Melton told the San Francisco Chronicle that members of the Sea Org are discouraged from having children. Melton wrote in a contribution in the book, The New Religious Movements and Religious Liberties in America, that we have yet to see documents confirming whether Scientology had a policy demanding that pregnant members of the Sea Org get an abortion. So, well, shout out to you, J. Gordon Melton. That is one of these pathetic, ridiculous, stupid AF religious scholar whatevers paid to speak on behalf of Scientology, paid to make child trafficking not look like it's child trafficking. Enablers of this disgusting state-sanctioned atrocity. The blood is in y'all's hands at those universities who definitely have been going to the payroll of Scientology to collect your little check to write bumbling, ridiculous, stupid things like this, where then the press has to pretend to be very, check it all out in the middle, you guys. Let's not do our own investigations. Let's not infiltrate ourselves, because it's not like half of Hollywood is compromised. It's not like that is the case. It's not like how many people in this industry playing a joke, purporting that they're very OT to break all manner of laws. Just like your master and commander, L. Ron M.F. Hubbard. So start connecting, literal dots that are so easy to connect. It just goes like this. Boom, boom, dot connected. What else in the hell do we have to do to literally start confronting all of these disgusting abominations? Because with just Elizabeth Moss's advice, we found ourselves a gold nugget, right? Wikipedia, shout out to you at Wikipedia that did put the information on the public record. God knows when this was written, this article, you guys, but there's a ton more stuff that you can find right there. It's just so easy to find this stuff because it's part of pop culture. Yeah, you guys, it's all part of pop culture. It's not like pop culture is not embedded with L. Ron Hubbard all over itself. So shout out to Disney, who again put ABC News to definitely cover Elizabeth Moss behind the scenes, the Scientologist that every last shred of Disney executive knows is a full-blown member, a childhood actor, member of these hotels, who are very connected, who are, very high up.
Margaret Atwood's novel, published in 1985, is a feminist classic.
I've read that you see this as a work of speculative fiction.
Speculative fiction is specifically, we could do it. And with The Handmaid's Tale, we could because we have.
She says everything she imagined, as awful as it is, has real-life historical precedent.
The punishment for that crime is death by stoning.
And that makes it especially eerie to walk around this place.
Shout out to you, Miss Atwood. Shout out to you, who apparently also, in your busy schedule as a writer, as a person that is supposed to investigate, as a person that is supposed to connect dots, you did take it upon yourself to write that little fictional book of yours. But then again, you did take it upon yourself to cast the lead actress of your so-called fictional whatever in the hell you wrote to this one here. Let's hear what Feminist of the Year Miss Atwood has to say for herself, because it would be very, very interesting for a writer such as herself to challenge herself to make sense in this year 2023 after the incredible success of her book and the incredible success of having tapped Mastermind Brainiac of the Year, Elizabeth Moss, to definitely mock the pain of minors that were born in those hotels, whose parents definitely got abducted to do all manner of missions they were told they were on, missions that also always made sure those children knew they were worthless nothings and just like a nuisance. When Miss Atwood can not from both sides of her mouth talk about how this could have happened and this kind of did happen and it almost happened and it could have been a thing and fictional maybe and not, you didn't take it upon yourself to read any shred of L. Ron Hubbard rhetoric, Miss Atwood. We couldn't be more shocked. We couldn't be more disgusted at the lack of due diligence that passes for intellectuality out there in this year 2023. As you, Miss Atwood, together with Hulu, together with Jeff Bezos, together with Hollywood, together with Miss Moss's William Morris agency that all know what in the hell is going on in those hotels, as we've made it so clear how easy to find on the public record. So if you, Miss Atwood, has a shred of a problem on what you're getting called out on, I suggest you type an email to Elizabeth Moss and ask her, what in the hell is this guy saying? And why in the hell did I not Google who L. Ron Hubbard is? Because that would be a question that, don't even go to Elizabeth. She was a child there. Don't even put it on her. Put it on you, Miss Atwood. We put this on you. You're a grown woman editor with resources ad nauseum at your fingertips. What is your excuse to have had not a shred of critical thinking skills when whoever in the hell pitched you, we really should tap Elizabeth Moss for this role? Because, you know, America's so dumb, stupid, naive, gullible, and pathetic that, you know, no one's going to see through what we're literally doing in plain sight. Because that's how Miss Moss is trained to normalize all of this. See, guys, I'm just such a big artist. I just have such great big ideas. Never mind that those ideas, Elizabeth, are being done in reality with non-actors that have not a shred of paycheck from Amazon or Hulu to be subjected to real life consequences, not just playing the part of being really brokenhearted and really upset and really wanting to go against the grain because you're such a fighter, right, Elizabeth? You're just such a fighter. You care so much. I mean, the protege of Scientology right there. You're just the poster child for what a great OT you are, together with the rest of the people that did this to you.
The punishment for that crime is death by stoning.
And that makes it especially eerie to walk around this place.
This is the commander's study. It's kind of the
Eerie AF. You guys, eerie AF. Because the commander's study, guess what these people in Miss Moss's hotel have for the commander in Miss Moss's hotel? L. Ron Hubbard. That little chair you see, that little desk. Because apparently the patriarchy, the literal patriarchy, is so dumb. All they have to do is pose behind a desk to impose intellectual wisdom and authority and know-it-alls. Because we did find ourselves here in this year 2023 with not a shred of change, with this joke being done to us, on us, at our expense. From the biggest corporations in America, no less, you guys. I mean, it's not like Scientology is the only ones who is literally effing us over, right or wrong. Hulu. Y'all at Hulu are not at all disrespecting what did happen to us in those hotels. The desk that you put up there, because no L. Ron Hubbard influences could have been used whatsoever in what y'all were doing, right? None of this is a reference or a shout out to New York Times bestseller of the year with 19 prizes, L. Ron Hubbard. When Hulu can answer that question, you guys, we will let you know when we hear from them. We will definitely let you know.
man cave of the show.
The Handmaid's World, familiar, but also quite foreign.
Look at the labels here on the olive oil jar, on these cans. No words at all.
No words at all is right, because the type of cans that we were being made to hold, the type of shackles these people were putting on us as children, where we were told not to move a single shred of a movement. were definitely started with canned soups. So we were told, hold these cans and grab them and don't move and let us interrogate you ad nauseum until we break you and say you like it. And tell us you like it, or otherwise your needle will definitely not float. And you definitely won't get out of this room because your needle is not floating. And we need to find what other type of crimes could you have committed that we don't know about, because that's very necessary and religious to be asking of kids. Right, America? Right, Hollywood? Right, William Morris? Right, Elizabeth Moss? Right, writer of The Handmaid's Tale? Right, all of y'all? I mean, literally, tell us if we couldn't be more wrong, misguided, or stupid. We would love to hear how y'all would like to reverse pitch this as making a lot of sense. And you too at Disney and ABC that definitely keep, talking from every last shred of mouth side you can find for yourselves, as you make no sense purporting that you are investigating Scientology stories, but you're also laundering the image of, the top tier founders, enablers, endorsers of what is being done to children in this year, 2023. Never mind that Elizabeth Moss was a literal child my age. But look at her now. Look at her now. Look at Miss Moss right now, right this second.
Last summer, the producers allowed Nightline to see the genesis of season 2 out in LA.
It's cool.
This is the writer's room. The screenwriters tossing around ideas.
I like the assistant getting killed.
Yeah, she's a martyr to the cause.
Most of the writers are women, as you'd expect for this show.
Leave it to Hollywood women to screw this up in a way we couldn't have thought it could be screwed up if you literally paid your worst enemy to screw it up. So shout out to all these women of Hollywood. They just did pitch to us to see the behind the scenes because, again, Nightline was granted access by the producers. So now that little favor is being returned by shouting them out so that they all are making money in promoting this stuff because, of course, we're too stupid to connect a shred of a dot. And all these women who supposedly are there to empower the story or in the hell what. Again, these writers that didn't Google Scientology and abortions and were writing lines for Elizabeth Moss with a straight face, make yourselves known today. How in the literal hell you as writers didn't put a single thought to the notion that even though you've been told ad nauseum on Twitter handles, on YouTube's, everybody's made the joke about, yeah, isn't Elizabeth Moss like in Scientology and isn't that Handmaid's Tales? And of course, Elizabeth Moss wouldn't be doing the Handmaid's Tales if she was really doing the Handmaid's Tale, right? Or wrong? I mean, how pathetic and gullible and idiotic can you all be? Together, collectively, having gone to all the universities available, having had to do God knows what to get a seat in that room with access to Elizabeth Moss, the big actress of Hollywood, the one that we really should all be listening to see what in the hell she has to say, because she's not gonna lie to anybody. She's not gonna act normal to cover up the unthinkable, because that's just not possible, right? Or wrong, LAPD, right or wrong, Clearwater Police Department. Is that possible? Can criminals really go around, you know, doing something and then, you know, acting a certain other way so that no one knows what in the hell is going on? Is that possible? Is that ever done anywhere? Because we're asking for a friend that has a friend that knows a friend inside those hotels. We're asking for them. So maybe y'all can also join the party of typing statements, because we literally cannot wait to hear the clownery that y'all are going to start typing. Literally.
But the creator and showrunner is a man, Bruce Miller.
The biggest danger to season 2 is being intimidated by season 1. And don't forget that we made season 1 too. It's the same us.
For years, Miller tried to get The Handmaid's Tale made. Last year's award season proved him right.
And the Emmy goes to The Handmaid's Tale!
The Handmaid's Tale swept, winning 2 Golden Globes and 8 Emmys.
Go home, get to work. We have a lot of things to fight for.
In the first season, the
And shout out to you, Golden Globes. And shout out to you, Emmys. And shout out to you, Hollywood wokes, as a whole, as a collective, who definitely sleeps with Scientology actresses and actors without a shred of remorse, without a shred of critical thought, without a shred of protection, while you're getting there infected with the real virus that is L. Ron Hubbard, with the very real memos that convicted felon wrote that normalize all manner of abominable, disgusting things being done to children. So if you didn't all know, now you really do know. Because it couldn't be more glaringly obvious, and y'all couldn't be playing more stupid if you tried. Literally.
writers had to adapt the novel. Now they're off book. Atwood never wrote a sequel.
I can't believe I get to know what happens after the end of that book.
Well, at least you know you're not going to be killed off very soon.
I know.
Yes, Elizabeth, you will get to find out what happens at the end of the book. Aren't you so lucky? Aren't you so lucky to be so protected by people who will allow you to role play what you do in those hotels, to including to but not limited to minors, with the rest of your buddies, with the rest of your posse, with the rest of the president's office, with the help of Dave Pettit, with the help of every last shred of commanding officer, captain, chief officer, senior CS, Qualsec, Commodore's Messenger, CMO, DCO, INR, MAA. Because it's not like I just rattled off a bunch of pathetic nonsense that definitely makes a lot of sense to one person. You, Elizabeth. You know what in the hell we're talking about. So don't even try to play dumb with us. Don't try it. Because yes, as much as your show depersonalizes people fictionally, y'all were doing that to kids in the Sea Org in reality. So perhaps put a mirror to yourself while you act and see if you start spotting yourself in the act of acting. Because it couldn't be more clear in this little behind the scenes, this little nugget from ABC, Disney, who cannot stop pitching your show as revolutionary feminist movement that Miss Atwood definitely did not do a shred of research. So just to make it super simple, DYFR. That's all that's being called out here. Lack of this ad nauseum by CAA, by Hulu, by Hollywood, by William Morris, by literally Miss Moss, Miss Atwood, the creator guy that was right there, telling us all this stuff, and all the people at the Academy Awards that, can't wait to give these Hollywood elites another trophy that they definitely deserve, because isn't society being helped by being gaslit? Isn't the far-right movement that didn't infiltrate the government just exist in Hulu's series, but not in reality, you guys? There is no far-right extreme movement that has infiltrated the government whatsoever. Right or wrong?
Against the backdrop of Donald Trump's America.
I mean, thankfully, we're not living in Gilead yet.
We're not living in Gilead yet, but there are Gilead-like symptoms going on.
Wrong again, Miss Atwood. Wrong, wrong, wrong. And we're going to recycle this for you again, because this is a note for you. This is specifically, literally here. CC Atwood. There. Consider yourself fully CC'd, Miss Atwood. DYFR. Literally, that's all we're asking here. We're not asking for a ton. We're asking for you to, with a straight face, tell the kids that didn't fictitiously live nothing. How in the hell you go there, purporting that you know what in the literal hell you're talking about, by number one, hiring Miss Moss to definitely play this as an actress, by number two, not Googling the history of Miss Moss's hotel chain in what is being portrayed in y'all's disgusting, nauseating series that you all did take it upon yourselves to do, but not to really, shine a light anything, because you were all joking on our expense, Miss Atwood, including you, who didn't, I guess, have a shred of a clue who L. Ron Hubbard was. You're another one of these science fiction writers that, we should all be respecting a lot, because I'm sure you have a lot of good, intelligent things to say, Miss Atwood. But you know what? Right now, we're finding that very hard to believe in this year 2023, that you would have a shred of an intelligent thing to tell us, since you didn't bother to literally type the most basic thing you should have researched the minute this woman got pitched to you to be tapped to do this role. The minute that happened, you really should have said, is this a good idea? Am I being played? Am I a pawn in a game? That would be a very good question for you, Miss Atwood, to ask yourself in front of a mirror ASAP. Literally ASAP.
Is now so relevant, protesters have shown up as handmaids at women's marches.
So that's for you, Miss Atwood, since maybe you never have seen what in the hell was going on at Miss Moss's hotels, even though, again, if you just Googled the Sea Org, you would find these photos everywhere. They're not like they're not everywhere. But again, the joke is on us, right?
White House Correspondents' Dinner. There was even this joke at Sarah Sanders' expense.
I have to say, I'm a little starstruck. I love you as Aunt Lydia on The Handmaid's Tale.
Do you think it would have resonated quite so much if Hillary Clinton had won?
I do think that it would have been a little bit more of like a, ooh, this is definitely something that
We missed the bullet.
yes, exactly.
Yeah,
we
missed
like
the bullet this
narrowly
time.
missed it.
Oh, yeah, guys, let's really listen to the pitch of the two feminists of the year right here. Miss Moss, that really wants to make herself politically relevant because we really dodged the bullet because Hillary and narrowly missed it. And all of this is going on in Donald Trump's America. This is going on in America since L. Ron Hubbard was allowed to go around recruiting children for himself and his proteges to do whatever in the hell those proteges and L. Ron Hubbard thought would be a great idea to do to those children. So let's just start with that. We haven't narrowly missed nothing, Miss Atwood. The bullet couldn't have been pointed more at straight inside our brain, since we did have the horrendous experience of being locked up in those hotels ourselves as kids, with these people role-playing all this military exercising that you're seeing there with the ridiculous clown uniforms. Well, they didn't think they were clowns when they were wearing them, Miss Atwood. And they were also not thinking that they were actors playing a role because this could be so fictional, but it could also really happen in reality. So why in the hell you've still, to this day, in this year 2023, 5 seasons later after Hulu has not given a single F about the type of joke they're playing on kids that definitely had a horrific childhood, if you could even call it that, because there is no innocence in a disgusting, depraved hotel. So get that through your thick skull right now. Make sure that lands inside your brain and then let it simmer and sizzle there for a while so you really figure out what in the hell you've done.
Even cast members are surprised at the show's impact. Actor Joseph Fiennes.
This suddenly hit the political zeitgeist in the way we look at men and women and sexuality and the lack of power.
And yes, you too, Joseph Fiennes, that doesn't Google, that has no shred of access to that has done all manner of interviews, you guys, and we had to watch it and nearly vomit as this man describes the cult that Miss Moss is in almost to the letter with an awful amount of familiarity. But apparently his research doesn't include basing it in reality to who his co-star was. Like, he didn't give a shred of an F. Oh, do I get to be with Elizabeth Moss? That's a good name, right? That's going to benefit my career. I'm going to get very far with this acclaimed role that I really could hold, that I really could get the paycheck from Hulu to do, because that really would matter to me to be in a Golden Globe nominated whatever. Nominated joke is what the Hulu show is. To all those writers that wrote it, to all those producers that wasted your time being part of something so horrific, a joke that is so egregious and disgusting that not all of Hollywood's fake wokeness could cover it if they tried, literally. With all those platitudes about let's make the world a better world by tapping Elizabeth Moss, Scientologist of the Year, to really, make a joke on all those kids that have come out of that experience that she never had because she is a white privileged woman that didn't have the hotel experience, that only was served by slaves, that she wasn't a slave herself, so she can just, put the monet and go into the floor and look real upset, and everyone's so fascinated by her acting skills because, we should give her all manner of awards. Well, you know what? We were being trained to be actors in those hotels. They called it the mood drill is what they called it. Okay, give me enthusiasm. Okay, give me anger. Okay, give me grief. Okay, give me 1.1. Okay, give me fear. Okay, give me terror. And if you didn't do it immediately by reading Alice in Wonderland, because you had to pick a line from Alice in Wonderland and then react in a terror way, that's what you were told. Deliver this line in terror. Flunk, that didn't sound a lot of terror. Start. Flunk, you're really not coming across like you know what the hell you're talking about. So give me terror. Look it up in the dictionary. You don't know. You're so pathetic. You're so stupid. Clear the definition of terror. Come on. Use it in sentences. Now, give me terror. Come on. Read Alice in Wonderland. Start. So if you all want to be so impressed with those acting skills as children, that's what these pathetic parents were making us do, because they really thought that technology was something that we could have really found useful at the time. Imagine that. Imagine the stupidity of that parent that was pitching those drills to children. CC all of you Scientology parents. CC all of y'all. Whether you left, whether you're there, whether whatever. CC you. Start figuring out what in the hell you have done. Start writing your real overts and withholds. Even if you left, we don't give a shred of an F. Write them down for yourselves. And then turn them into authorities that can do something with the information instead of you just sitting on it, pretending nothing happened, and you're just so conveniently senile. It's time for that to end. Ends today. FYI. We already wrote it in a memo, just like L. Ron Hubbard, because apparently that's all it should take. Right or wrong. Scientology parents, right or wrong.
These things yourselves?
Honey, we make at least 90%.
Anne Crabtree designs the show's costumes.
This wall is everything from last season.
Among the costumes, some tantalizing hints about the new season.
This is going to be an upcoming story. It's a faded color, I can tell you. It's more faded than this color,
Okay.
which is a Serena Joy color.
Oh.
Are you curious now?
I'm very
You have to
curious.
watch.
Crabtree also designed those iconic white bonnets.
Want to try it?
Can I?
I think you have to. I have to put it on you because it's almost a sacred moment, brother. Are you ready? You go like this. You feel that?
I'll confess, I'm not much of a handmaid.
But you feel blinkered, completely blinkered.
And the sound is
And
different?
the sound is different? That should be the fruit.
As soon as the cameras stop rolling with Canada Goose jackets, this is Toronto. It's the dead of winter. It's cold.
Canada is the land of freedom in this show.
The cold weather, a small price to pay.
Yes, yes. Small price, possibly a big price.
Nightline tagged along with the show's crew as they scouted Toronto locations for episode 10.
And then what's back there? Back there? Oh, should we look at that? Yes.
The show is so intense, people have said it's impossible to binge watch. So when Elizabeth Moss's character finally lets loose in the finale of season 1, she says what we're practically shouting at our TV sets at home.
You are gonna burn in goddamn hell, you crazy evil bitch!
Don't get upset. It's not good for the baby.
On Strahovski, that was an especially tough scene.
I want to just give Lizzie a hug and not do the things that I have to do on camera. I find myself apologizing a lot in between takes.
Do you?
Yeah.
So for all of you little actors and your little Lizzie, we don't want to tell Lizzie and poor Lizzie, you know who's not apologizing whatsoever? after doing disgusting things that you could all Googled yourselves. This woman here that purports to be just another actress too, because the Hulu check and the chance to work right next to Elizabeth only comes once in a lifetime. So while you are feeling remorseful for treating Lizzie, the one who never signed a bill in your contract, the one who wasn't in the Sea Org, the one who wasn't sent to the hole as a child, the one who wasn't trained as an auditor to audit other adults, tapped starting at 13. So we have yet to hear a shred of an apology by anybody. But again, this woman who joins the cast of people who are part of the Nothing to Do with Me club is who they are, these people, you guys. Oh, this has nothing to do with me. Lizzie can do as Lizzie does because she's just so brilliant. And didn't she also do Mad Men? And didn't she also do this? And aren't we all just so impressed by her acting skills? We couldn't be less impressed with this pathetic performance, is what we would say. The kids that the joke is on. So there.
Sorry.
Elizabeth Moss says, as important as the message is, so is the story.
Ultimately, we want to tell the story of our particular characters. We're not really trying to send a message necessarily. We're just trying to hold up a mirror to society.
Miss Moss, we do definitely want to hold a mirror, not so much to society. Turns out the mirror we want to hold is to you personally, to grab that mirror and put it in front of your face and ask yourself, am I a white privileged woman? Yes or no? Am I a full-blown Scientologist? Yes or no? Am I still instituting all the false pitches my daddy, who allegedly scammed and schemed another Scientologist out of his money, pitches? Am I still following my daddy's advice, the great musician that he was, the one who didn't take you to school, as you have gleefully already shared? How, I didn't go to school because, who needs school when your parents are musicians and everybody has given you so many accolades about how normal you come across, Elizabeth. You just come across so normal. You're so relatable. You put yourself down all the time because you're just so modest and don't know what in the literal hell is going on. But, with that same evil, ridiculous pitch, you put nooses on women's heads, but you just say, no, but this is just all make-believe, you guys. This is not happening in reality at all. We don't put kids' heads on a pike, right, Elizabeth? That's not one of memos of L. Ron Hubbard. Put a head on a pike if you want to get ethics in. Put it on a pike.
Maid's Tale, Season 2 on Hulu. I'm David Wright for Nightline, Under His Eye.
There you go, guys. What have we learned today? That the far-right extremist wing movement that Ms. Moss pitches as a possible maybe happened, maybe didn't happen scenario is a joke that has been played on every last victim child that definitely got trafficked into those hotels to get exposed to the unthinkable amount of this balance of power dynamics. These royals giving themselves slaves, including but not limited to children, have decided it's in their best interest to call a religion. That's something we definitely found out today. And we find out that, ABC News can always talk from both sides of its mouth because it's not like they have a spine or anything. As long as they get access to a little BTS, they'll rub each other's backs, elbows, and whatever in the hell they need to rub so that Elizabeth continues to get pitched ad nauseum to the whole nation as a big hero, relatable feminist that she's not. And Miss Atwood, that did take it upon herself to write that fictional book, allowed Elizabeth to take the role at the expense of every last credible victim that has come forward with receipts, with top-tier media, with headlines all over the media. Why in the hell Miss Atwood, with her supposed knowledge of how power dynamics and horrible cults can end up doing what in the hell they do, would be very great for that woman to answer, given that she does purport to be very important and have a lot of ideas about how power dynamics and the patriarchy works. So many great ideas, you guys, that she couldn't even connect a dot if the dot and the line came this close to Miss Atwood's nose. Because apparently there's a shortage of access to Google in America, you guys. Apparently Jeff Bezos is so corrupt that all of his Hulu executives don't have enough money to Google anything before they pitch a project. And apparently there's also a huge Google shortage access at William Morris, who does happen to be the agents representing Miss Moss, who do happen to be behind the scenes, pitching, approving, allowing access, because Hollywood is not a cult, right, Hollywood? That you have a whole big strike on your hands, but you're not a cult, because all the millionaires make millions while everyone else runs around with the privilege of even remotely being tasked to work in a movie. Because isn't it so cool to see every one of these adults just get to play like infantilized kids all day long? Because it's really important to shape culture, isn't it? Really, really important to shape culture, to shape public opinion, because America really wants everyone to believe that, as long as Elizabeth Moss plays what happens in The Handmaid's Tale as a, very artistic expression of her one First Amendment right, with that same face, can hide all of the abuses that are taking place in those hotels under, what is it? Oh yeah, First Amendment right. Because apparently in America, that's what it means to have your First Amendment, to still be able to have your way to child slaves in this year 2023. Because the Constitution of the United States, you guys, couldn't be any more enforceable or relevant. It's just what they do at that White House. Literally, who cares? Who wants to deal with that? Hollywood is involved. The wokes. No, don't investigate anything, FBI. Everything is okay. They bring manners, all kinds of children from all across the world. But you know what? Everybody does it. Everybody does it. All religions do it. Everybody does it. It's okay. We can't have a shred of an opinion about it. Well, wrong. Corrupt, pathetic people that aren't doing your job. You couldn't be more wrong, and you're going to live to rue the day where you decided to capitulate to Scientology, because that day has arrived. So start preparing yourselves for the version of karma that is going to be coming your way, and not to a theater near you, to a reality near you. I thank you guys for watching, and I will see you all very, very, very soon. Bye-bye.